Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. In this video, we will discuss expand query options. Generally, we will get the data from the database for one entity set at a time one. But sometimes the front-end guy requirement is like that, or front-end UI and query guys, the requirement is like that. They want to access the multiple entity set data together. That we can do using the expand query options. There is the two way. One way, the framework, SAP framework provided us that whenever you run the expand query option, it will work automatically. And second way, we have to implement our own code to run this particular expand query options. This both way we will see in this video. Let's get started. Let's quickly revise whatever we have done till now. So we have created one service to expose the sales order data. You can see the service is the Z sales order underscore 001 underscore SRV. For creating this service, we have created this project G sales order underscore 002. We created two entity types. One was the sales order header and sales order item. In last video, we discussed the association and navigation, and we use the navigation to traverse from the sales order data to the sales order line item data. So you can see this is the metadata. To see the metadata, this is the service. In the service, you can see all the collections, what all are the data is available. And if you want to see the metadata about this particular service, so you can see dollar metadata. You just after the service name, you have to write dollar metadata, and you can see the metadata of this particular service. So in this service, you can see we have two entity types. One is the sales order header, another one is a sales order item. Apart from two entity type, we have created one association as well. So association is order to item. In last video, we have created to traverse from the header entity to the item entity. So we have the two entity set. One is the sales order item entity set, and one is the sales order header entity set. To access the data, we always use the entity set, Control C. Suppose I want to access the header data. To access the data, we have implemented is till now two methods. Let me show you that two methods also. So in this case, this is the extension class. One method we have implemented get sales order header get entity set method, and second is sales order get entity sales order item get entity set method. Using that, I can access all the header data. Just you have to pass the service name / and your entity set name from where you want to access the data, and you have to click on enter. It will give you all the header data. Once you can see all the sales order numbers, you can see the first sales order is 4969 and 4970. Like that, we can see multiple sales order we got. If you want to display the same sales order data in the in what format, dollar in JSON format, you can see that in JSON format also, dollar format equal to JSON, you can see it will be little bit prettier and it will display in good way. So you can see easily all the data. You can see the VBLN is 4969, and same data we can see in the JSON format also. And we have created the navigation property. I want to traverse from this header data, which currently it got displayed. I want to go to the line item data. Just I have to click on this particular link button. It will open for this particular header data using this particular items navigation property to the item data. So that is the way we can access this particular header data. What all are the line items there? Currently I can see only one line item. If some of the sales order, if there is multiple data, we can see the multiple data as well. Let me see if something is having multiple. Yeah, this sales order have multiple line items. So you can see Posner is 10 and the Posner 20, line item is 30, 40, and I think this sales order have 5 line item. So like that, we can traverse from header to line item data. But the problem is that here I am displaying the header data, or here I am displaying the line item data. I don't have header data. But sometimes the requirement is that I want to, the front end guy want like that. I don't want to fetch the header data separately and line item data separate code. I want to access both the data together from the system. So here the expand query option come in picture. So this is our I think so second query option we are going to discuss. First we already discussed the format, how we can see all the query option one by one we will discuss in upcoming video, but here I thought this will be a better place because just now we have discussed sales order, two entity set. We have the proper way where we can start learn expand query option. So what is the expand query option? It will help us to get the data from the system. Let me change the service to, because that service one which I have developed, that is for my purpose, my learning purpose. Both are going parallelly, so I practice and quickly show you guys. So that is the service 2, sales order 002 underscore SRV and sales order 004975 we can display. So we were talking about the expand options. What is expand query option is that, so whenever we want to access the data from the system, I want to not only get the header data, I want to get along with the header data, line item data as well. So to get the in one shot, currently I'm accessing the header data here, and when I'm clicking on this link, again one backend, one SAP call is going and it is fetching the line item data here. And this can be also displayed in the same dollar format equal to JSON. It will be prettier. You can see 10, 20, 30, 40, 55 line item. Now I want to display header and line item data together. How you can display? To doing this, the expand query option, again I'm repeating. So what you have to do, you have to write your as soon as you write your, when you're accessing your header entity, there you have to write the query option $, $expand equal to, here you have to give your navigation property name. For example, I want to display the data, header data with the line item data. On what is the link between the header and line item data? I know the items navigations. Items navigation is the link between those two data. So I'm telling the system that whenever you're getting the data, header data, please expand to the item as well. You get the item data in that call itself. Instead of, I don't want to click on this link and go to the second page, I want to display here itself header data, and instead of giving me link, give me line item data here itself. So what I'm telling, give me header data and expand it to line item data. So items, you have to give here navigation path, navigation property name which you have created in last video. So you have to give here navigation properties, and again we are using multiple queries, so you have to use and operator for second query. This is the first query you returned where the $expand equal to items, and second query you have written $format equal to JSON. So in that way, what will happen, we will get the header data and it will be expanded here itself, and we will be get along with the header data, line item data as well. Let me click on that, and what it is happening, we will see we are getting the header data and line item data together or not. We are getting the header data. You can see instead of giving the line item link, it gave me the line item 10 here itself. Suppose we were checking the 4975. Let me check the 4975. We were having the 5 line item. So you can see for 4970 also we have 5 line item. So you can see this is starting, metadata is starting from here. So we have the from here it is starting, and we have the header data, and in the items we can see this is our first item 10. And if you close this one, we have second item 20. If you close this one, we have third item 30. Like that we are having 40 and 50, 60. I think this line item have multiple 70 items. So 7 line item I got here for this particular 4970 sales order. I didn't do any implementation for this. It just come back from the backend. I didn't write any code. So it is done by the framework. So how it is working, to see that one, how for each, till now whatever we did to get the data, we were writing some code. But in this, when I ran this query, I didn't write any code at all till now. To understand that how it is running in backend, I will put some of the breakpoints. So let me open SE24. and put breakpoint and see what code exactly running behind to get this data. So do it is calling that only this get entity set, or do it is calling that calling the header get entity set or line item get entity set, or it is calling both, and how, if it is calling, how it is calling. I want to see that one. So for that, what I will do, I will go to my DPC extension class, display it out. I only till now implemented two methods. One is the get entity set for the header and get entity set for the item, is for our requirement. So let me double click on that one and put the breakpoint both the places. If you don't know how to implement, watch out my previous video where I have shown you both the methods. I am hoping you are watching one by one, and if you directly came somehow to this video and you don't know how to implement the get entity set method and get entity method, you can watch out my previous videos. So you can see this one, and you can put breakpoint both the places. I have put external breakpoint both the places, and let me refresh now again my data. So this time, since I put the breakpoint, I hope so breakpoint should trigger. You can see the breakpoint triggered. So you have to see how you can see the first method called sales order header get entity set DPC extension. So you can say header method got called, and since I put up to 100 rows, I want to get only 100 rows. I don't want to I don't want to spend much time to wait that much time. That is the reason. So let me do F5. We'll put filter also, a lot of condition also in upcoming videos, but as of now we are discussing the expand query option. So for that, you can see I got the data. I can see I fill the 100 entity set. I got 100 line here from VBAK table. Let me do F8. First it is hitting the header. Which header it is? First it is hitting the header get entity set method, and let me do F8. You can see it is hitting now get entity set method, but this time for items. So in the items, let me do F5. Let me see the local variable, what is the importing and exporting parameter. You can see we have entity name and we have source name also. So when we implemented only whenever we implemented this particular method, only when we call this particular method through the source, means through the header entity. If you directly call this particular order item using the entity, using that particular method which I shown you yesterday, this one, sales order items, if you directly call this particular method, you will not get any data, because I put if condition and another URI. If you call with another URI, it will be not supported. I am not supporting that one, because my application, as I shown you in my previous video, we just need to display all the header data, and once you click on header data, I want to display the line item data. And this is the second requirement. When you require the expand, suppose you created two entities, you want to display both header and line item data together in the front end. The front-end developer don't want separate code to get the header and line item data. He want both the data together from both the entities. He want the data together. In that case, this expand will work. So in this case, so obviously because we are calling from header to item, so source name is header. So that is the reason our code will run, our code work here properly. And if you see the VBLN, I am reading from the key tab. If you see in the key tab that we have only one key, 4969, you can see VBLN is the 4969. I didn't pass any key, but still it got filled 4969. So that's a very important when you are calling from the expanded entity set, expand query option. Whenever it is calling the line item, if you see this VBLN and key tab, it is got first sales order. One by one, it is calling all the sales orders. I did F5. Let me get it. Only got only one line item. I think so. There is one line item for this particular, only one line item for the sales order. So that is the reason it got one entry. Let me do F8. You can see again it calls same method, but this time with different sales order. So what it is happening, it is calling. So if you see how it is calling, so what it is happening, it is calling first this method, get order, sales order. When you run this this navigation path we have already explained. So let me see this one, expand query option. This is the only the query we have executed. So expand query options, we have service 02, and we put this one a $expand equal to items, and we put in the format JSON format. So in this case, what we have to do, You can see the this is the query. First method, what method it is getting executed? First method is the get entity set for the sales order header. It is executing, and after execution of this method, it is calling the get line item entity set. This is how the expand query is working. So it got all 100 data together, and for one by one it is calling the it is not calling in one hand. It is called for first time it is called for the 4970, for example, this time, and F8. Let me do F5, F6, F6. This time it called for 4973, like that it is calling. So 4970, 4973, like that, one by one, all the it will call 100 times. So on, it will call how many times? 100 times it is calling this particular method. But I can see if it call the 100 times, it's like the loop. You are writing the select inside the loop. So we don't want this kind of code in our day-to-day programming. We never write select inside the loop. This is running like this only. You are calling each time for each sales order, this particular get entity set method is getting executed. But I don't like this way, because it will take more time to fetch the data. Each time this particular query have to hit the database and get the data. So this is how the standard framework work. It will take little bit, it will take more time, not little bit. It again depends on the data, how much data you are fetching from the backend. If you use the standard framework option of the SAP. So let me do F8, let me remove that breakpoint and F8 and show you the data finally. The same data we will get, whatever we got the data previously. I just put the breakpoint. You can see again we got the same data only for all the sales order header line item headers. First we got header, and once we got the header, for header we got all the line items, and you put in the format equal to JSON. That is the reason JSON format you got the data. So this is the how expand query option work. But the problem is here is that for me, what is the problem? Because this is calling this item get entity set method 100 times for 100 sales order, but somebody access the 1000 or 10,000 sales order from front end, so it will call the 10,000 or 1,000 times that particular this particular method, and inside this method we have this select query, and we are calling loop inside our select query. It is never recommended by SAP. Or however we will get the data using the select, using the function module, or whatever the way we are getting the data from the database, but it will always in the loop. So this is the reason when we use the standard framework options of the expand query option, that time it will take more time. Again, this will bring me to our first our new one of the new Tcode which till now we didn't discuss. This is IWFND underscore IWFND/trace. Using this Tcode, what we can do, we can trace the how much data, how much time this particular service taking. So let me see, if I use the standard expand query option, then how much time it will take, and when I use the when I implement my expand query options, that I will show you in meanwhile how to do that. But before that, let me see how much time this is taking. So let me go and remove the breakpoints first to see the actual times. So let me remove this breakpoint also. Oh, okay, not like this. You have to select this one and remove this one and this one. Okay, let me come back. And now let me re-execute. Let me close this one, Control C, close this one, open this one, close this one. Let it open first. And what I will do, I will paste and let me activate the trace first. To activate the trace, you have to call //IWFND/trace. Oh, there is a mistake. Traces, sorry, not trace. Traces. Yeah, this is the Tcode you have to use. We delete /n this time. So as soon as you open, when you open initially, there will be no folder like this one. It will be like this one. Yeah, it will be like this one. What you have to do, you have to right click here, add user or request URI prefix, and you have to give your user ID, as of now Technomaniac, and that's it. Once you add, this is automatically take up your OData service path. No need to worry about that, and you have to click on enter. this is the how you have to configure this particular tracing tool. What you have to do, you have to tell what needs to be traced whenever whenever you are getting the service call. You want to trace the error log. Yes, I want to trace the error log as well. You want to do performance test. Yes, I want to do. And you want to do payload test. Let me activate this also. I will show you what these all are the things, and you can save your configuration. Once you save your configuration, now you have to rerun your URI or URL. From the URL you can run, and you can click on enter. And one more thing before doing that, one more thing I want to do, I want to remove that up to 100 rows. I want to get all the data so I can see the actual performance trace there. So as of now I have put up to 100. Now let me remove 100 and put all the data. Shift F1, Control F3. And we got the trace is got captured. Let it be. If you see the again performance trace, there is already trace is there. Let me delete all. I don't want now. Let me delete all. I want to see freshly. Payload, select all and delete all. Yes. So you can come little bit right side, or you can arrange this one. Okay, that's not required. I already activated. I saved the configuration. Now what I will do, I will again execute that same URI expand query, the sales order header expand item to item and JSON format. Let me remove the JSON format also. Just I will expand the items and see how much time it is taking. The breakpoint is there or not. If it is breakpoint is there, then it will take time. I think so. I think it is taking time to executing this query. The breakpoint I have removed. So I got the data finally. You can see there is used data. That is the reason it is took time. Let me see the trace now. Let me deactivate the trace first. Inactivate, and secure. Let me put blank and save configuration, and let me see the performance trace. You can see the one entry you can see here, and this is the just now it got executed. And let me see the trace performance. You have to double click on that. You can see the trace over here. So what is this trace is telling? For processing this particular request, how much time it took, the total time how much took in the gateway hub system, how much time it will took, and to calling the RFC backend system, how much time it took, and the gateway framework to overhead and application to fetch the application data, how much time it will took. So let me copy this data, Control All, Control C. It's very important. Trace data is there we are having. So let me when we ran this expand query option, this took this much time. So this time is the total time. So let me write something so we can compare when we write our code and when we run with the framework option, how much time difference is there. To see that time difference, that is the reason I have shown you this particular Tcode. And second is the gateway hub system. Means in our case both system are same, but because we are working in embedded deployment. But if you are working in the central hub deployment, you will be having the separate gateway hub system and backend system separate. So in this case, how much time taken by the gateway hub system, and next is the this is the RFC network to call from gateway system to your backend system. How much time took to call RFC? This is RFC backend, RFC call, RFC to calling one function module from different system. How much time it took? That is the RFC call time. It is there, but in this case it called in same system, but still it took time. It's okay. And then the GW gateway backend framework overhead. Again, this is telling in the backend how much time it took, and for the fetching the application data, how much time it will took. So backend means to run that particular all the get query option, how much time it took, and how much time took to fetch the application data to run the select queries and all. So this is the gateway backend system time. let me GW. This is backend system, we can say backend, and this is application logic. How much time took to run the application logic? Application logic. So this is the time we have to remember when we write. So this is the time we can see here. Not only this data, if you double click on this particular service and you see the trace detail, further detail, how much exactly where it is time taking. You can click on trace detail. You can see what all are the time actually took. You can see for getting the, it is calling multiple time. First it called the get entity set method, then get expanded entity set method for the DPC extension class. And in these two methods, how much time it will took in this case. And convert entity set, I am using which service? Sorry sir, I'm using service 2 only. That is fine. Okay, service 2 I'm using, so that is the fine. So you can see first it try to call the get entity set method and get expanded entity set method. How much, that is the reason the combined time it is taking. And you can see where exactly time take, if some application running slowly, so you can come here and see where exactly the time consuming, and based on that you can improve your code. That is the use of this traceability report. You can see the source code also. From here you can go to the source code. If you click on the source code button, it will take you to the source code of that particular and you can further analyze how it is calling. In this case they are calling get entity set because they have to call first the, it is running framework, they have to call first header set and then they have to call the line item method. That is, I think that's done in this, inside this particular method. So like that we can see the traces as well. So this is how the trace we have to see. There was two kind of trace, as I told you. One is the performance trace, second is the payload trace. Payload trace, if you see, double click over here, nothing, what data you, if you increase this size, what data you requested and what did you got in your response. In the request query, I don't think so we requested any payload, but in response query, what data you got, that also you can see all the data over here. So this is how you can see your payload and detail. This is payload trace. It will save the data. Suppose you want to analyze the data in future, that also you can see here. So it's taking too much time to, because there is huge data of the payload. That is the reason it is stuck. My system got stuck. So it took time, but it finally got loaded all the data, whatever the data we have returned. So meanwhile what I did, I don't want every time this much data. So what I did, I just put back this up to 100 rows. I don't want to get every time this much data, and system should not stuck. And like that you can see in the trace tool the payload data as well if you want to analyze your data. Let me come back here. Now what we will do, instead of using the framework expand option, we will create our own code to expand, to send the header entity along with the item entity. We will write our own code in the SAP instead of using the SAP standard framework options. To do that, what we can do, so you have to go to your DPC extension class, and sometime you can see the SE24. If you see this SE24 your class here you can see all the method which not implemented, and it is coming from your super class. So all the methods, so whatever you have implemented, those only you can see in black color. Other things you can see in the blue color. So you can see I want one method called the implement expand entity set and entity method. To see that method, either you can go to the SE24 and you can see, but here I'm using Eclipse. So there you have to call here your super class, and you can go here, or either you can do F2 here and you can go to your super class, and inside the super class what all are the methods are available, and you want to call complete hierarchy. There is something called Control T button. You can see the complete hierarchy of your class. I think this is the class you have to open to see your method main class. So basically what it is happening, this is again Eclipse. If you want to see complete hierarchy, what I mean, the Control T, when you click, this is the currently which you are working, and this is the super class of this class, and this is the super class of this class, and this is the super class. So basically if you see this super class, means this class, in this class we have some method call If you want to see all the methods together of this class, you can click on Control O button. These are all are the shortcuts. You can see all the attributes, red color private methods, and you can see the lot of public method also. I want to implement this particular method, which is coming from the interface MGW application service runtime get expanded entity set method. Once you implement this method, then your current framework not work. They will not call the your current framework is calling. Before going that, because once I implement this one, this will stop working our current framework. I just want to show I missed one thing. So what you can do again, let me put the breakpoint in get entity set method. Again, I put up to 100 rows, and let me put breakpoint here, external breakpoint, and let me come back. I just want to show you guys really how it is calling the framework, how it is working currently. So if you put breakpoint over here, and let me refresh the data again here. This is expand item. Same thing I'm doing. I'm refreshing the data. I put the breakpoint. I think this time breakpoint will trigger again. Trace is not needed. Oh, let me see. I stopped the trace or not. That also very important for me. I don't want to trace again and again. So you can go here. So first I will show you, then only I will stop the trace. So you can see we are getting the data from the first header get entity set method. I got 100 data. When I did F8, okay, F9, this I do every time. F9, you can see if you go to desktops 2, and you can see all the stack, how it is calling. So it called that for particular one sales order, it called this method. If you do F8, again it is calling same method after some time. If you do F7, so it is coming from, if you see the stack, how it is calling, it is coming from the get entity set runtime. If you go F7 again it will go to get expanded entity set. If you do again F7 here, it will call read expanded entity set. If one more time, if you see the F7, you can see there is one loop is there. So if you double click here, F7 you will do, let me see here. So you can see there is one loop, LT entity set. If you click on this LT entity set, you can see there is 100 line. So what it is doing for this all 100 sales order, one by one, it is getting the expanded entity. In our case, this is the sales order line item is the expanded entity. So framework generated their own code. So since we didn't implemented our code, so framework calling, it called all the first, it called that header entity set method, and it got all the data in this particular table. And once it got the table, all the 100 sales order, one by one, it is calling all the sales order, and it is getting the expanded entity. So in this case, if I do F5, it will call the second expanded entity, second VBLL, second sales order. It will go inside and it will get the parameter, and it will go on get the key fields and all other detail. And after getting all the other detail, it will call the children. And if once I will do F8, so finally it will call our method call get entity set. Because expand will work like that, there might be the possibility you have that sub entity, inside that sub entity some sub what we can say entity type, and that entity type again have the navigation, that also will be expanded automatically. So those will be taken care by all this function module. If we are writing our code, we have to taken care all the each and everything whatever we want to do. Okay, so let me do F8, and again it will call the same method, like it is calling one by one all the things in loop that actually we don't want. Let me do F8. I just wanted to show you how it is working. That is the reason I showed you. And one more thing, I just want to see this trace. I want to disable this trace. I have already disabled. Let me disable inactive and save configuration. And I have currently only one trace which we have run with entire data, not the 100 sales order. So that is fine for me. Okay, now what I will do, I will go to my DPC extension class. This MPC is not required, and I will try to implement that method. So one more important thing, how that method I got. So basically most of the method you have, if you do Control T here, most of the things you will get in absolute data, and in this also most of the things you will get in the this service runtime interface. These all are the methods from which is in this interface. They have implemented those all the methods in this particular class. If you do control O, you can see all the data elements, all the attributes. Private method red color, then green color is the public method. Since this particular get expanded entity set is the public method, so what I have to do, I have to redefine this particular method in the public section only. If I try to define in protected section, I will get that. So what I can do, methods, and I will put // IWBEP / if, you can do control space, if MGB service runtime, I think this is the application service runtime, and you can do control space again and get expanded entity set. I want to re-implement this particular method, and you have to write redefinition, and you have to put dot at last. So like that you have to find out the methods. But in the SE24, one is the advantage, as I told you, what is the advantage to work with SE24? You not need to search for control O and control T. You can see all the superclass method, irrespective of from which class it is coming. You can see all the superclass method in one place here, or you can directly click on that particular method, get expanded entity set method. This is the method we are re-implementing. You just select this one and click on redefine button. You can do from here as well, and you can display the object list from here. And from here also you can, if you see all the method, inherited methods, and what all are the inherited method, from which class it is coming. In our case, I think that method is coming from the service runtime main superclass application service, this class, and get expand. You can right click over here and redefine this method like this also. There are different ways. So we are working in Eclipse, so we are directly redefining here. I just wanted to show you. You can control 1 and add the implementation for this particular method. Again, I don't want to write the code again and again. It's a very basic ABAP code we are going to write here. So we found out the method. How to find out? You have to understand this, all the classes of the DPC classes, super classes. So you can see, you can utilize the methods based on your requirement. So most of the time there are the fixed method we are using. For this purpose we use this method, this purpose we use this method. Most of the methods I will show you guys in upcoming videos, like expanded entity set, one of the method. So I don't want to write code again here. If you see F2 over here, so you can see the IV entity name, again these all the things you can see. And if you put breakpoint over here, now let me put breakpoint and see. Let me activate this one, control F3, and my other breakpoint is already in place, and I'm putting the extra breakpoint over here. Let me go SE24, I think space and SE20. Let me open again, because just now I have implemented. Let me display it out, and that will be in black color since I have implemented. So you can see it's in black color. Get expanded entity set, and I can put my external breakpoint over here. And I have already breakpoint in other method as well. Let me see if they are calling or not. I didn't check that one. I have already other method breakpoint also. Let me put here as well one method breakpoint. So let me refresh the data. Now we will see how it is calling. It's calling these two methods, or directly it is calling get expanded entity set. How it is working. My breakpoint is triggered. You can see now it called the get expanded entity set method. Let me do F8. We didn't get any data. It didn't call those two methods which previously implemented, because we have implemented our own method called get expanded entity set. Now framework is thinking, you have implemented whatever you want to do, you take care of your data. You have to send the data back to the front end. So that is the reason now these two methods didn't get called. Now we have to write our own code and fill both the entity set together. So in this method, we are going to write the code, and we have to fill this particular ER entity set to fill the data. So basically, what data code we have to write? Instead of getting separately, we have to get the data from VBAK and VBAP. You can make a join, whatever the way you want to write here. Again, ABAP code. I just want to, I don't want to declare these types and all, because this is older version. I can't regenerate also. I can't use the data in the select statement. So that is the reason I don't want to do those all kind of stuff. Just let me copy it out and let me explain you what I did. Control C, type setlist. First, let me copy the types, shift F1. So basically, I want the data from the sales order header table. What data I want? These are the all the data I want. VBAK, VBLN, AUART. Let me see the data, something I missed. I know I copied from this one. This is the header data. Control C and Control V. So VBLN we declared, AURT we declared, VQRZ, VTWAZ, SPART, BSTNK, Kunna. These five data we want to get. So we got all these five data from here, and once we got the five data and these four data from the line item table. So I have declared the structure. You know how to declare already, and we declared the internal table for this particular type, not structure, type I have declared, and I declared the internal table for those. And this is the most important thing. I know what data I have to send in front end. I have to send this header data along with the line item data. But what will be the format? First, I have to send the header data, and for sending the line item data, I have to send in one table. So this is the work area, like you have to declare. So this is the work area I declared, ls expanded sales order, where I have declared all the fields of header table, and I have declared with the navigation name you have to declare. That is the very important thing. I know the navigation name is the items. I have to put the items navigation name, and which will be the type of table, TYVBAP. Again, this is the four field which we are getting. So this is the how your how you're expanding the data when the data look like this, like only the first header data, then line item data one by one in the table format, in the sub form. In same way I have created my structure as well. This is the very important thing whenever you are doing your development. And second thing, I declare the internal table type of this ls expand sales order. This table I have to fill, and this table I have to send back to the front end. Once I will send this data to the front end, the data will be displayed in this format only. So this is the code you have to write. This is very basic, simple code. Again, select queries only. This is your way how you want to write. I just wrote this code, so I will copy paste select queries. There is no this is not something big I am doing. Just wrote the first select query, got the data from the LTVBAK. I would have write one by one, but I know this now. These videos are taking too much time, 1 hour, going more than 1 hour. I don't want to spend that much time. So you just have to get the data from the sales order, all the data, and I'm getting up to 100 rows and for all entries, or you can join also. If you join also, then you have to loop accordingly and you have to fill accordingly. So whatever the way you want to do, this is the V7. This is the, I can say 7.4 system or below system. So I can't do much here coding. I can't. If I try to use @data, it will not work in select statement. So that is the reason I simply copy pasted code in the older way, and we use the for all entries. Before checking, we check the size abasi. If we got the data from header and line item, then I loop through the header data and I fill the first this particular ls expanded header data from VBAK. So basically what I did, I fill this all the data from header, move corresponding to this table, and again I loop through the LTVBAP table. Here you have to use parallel cursor. I didn't use parallel cursor, I use just where condition. Again, I don't want to spend that much time. You have to do binary search, or you want to loop through those data only, which data needed, and you have to pass the LSVBAP, and you have to pass in the this particular item table. This item table is, we have declared those LSVBAP. You have to append to this item table, and you have to fill your item table. And once the data is prepared, all the data will be available in LT expanded entity set. So like that, I have write the code. This is the way you have to fill your particular entity set. It's a very simple, not is a big thing. It's a normal ABAP coding. So you can write yourself this one. Once we have filled this table, we have to convert this data to the outer format. Again, we have to use, if you click on this particular interface, we have particular one method is there. That method is convert type ref data. So what you have to do, if you don't know anything, so you just can go to the, again you can click on Control O button, and you can go to the your super, okay, not Control O, Control T button. You can go to your super class, or you can go to SE24. You can see all the implemented method. In this we have this one. You can click on Control O and you can see all the method. I have to use type ref button. I want to convert this one, get entity copy data to ref. This is the method I want to use. So you can call this method because this is again public method. I want to convert the data in the outer format. So what you have to do, once you did this one, you just have to call this one Control V and Control space you will do, Shift Enter you will do. It will ask for the data. I will send this data and I will get this data back in the this ER entity set. F2 ER entity set. This is the method you have to use mandatorily to send the data back to the front end. Once we have used this method, let me activate this one, Control F3, and let me try to put breakpoint again and see this method how it is getting executed. So let me go here, let me come back here. These two methods will be not called, only this method will be called, get expanded entity set. Breakpoint, let me put some executable line breakpoint and let me refresh the data again. This time how the data we will be going to fetch, let's see. So you can see debugger is triggering. I'm waiting for the debugger get trigger. You can see debugger got triggered. First we are getting the data from VBAK. So you can see the VBAK table. I got the 100 line, all the data is I got, and I'm getting the data from VBAP. Again you can see the VBAP data, 356 entries I got for these 100 sales orders. You can see 970 we saw there is 7 line item, and for other 73 we have 3 line item. Like that we can see how many line items is there, materials we can see. I'm looping through header table and I'm filling this particular, currently it is blank. First I will fill header data. You can see I filled the header data. Next then I loop through the line item table. This is, in this case there is only one line, so that is the reason you can see only one line here. But next time I'm clearing before going for the next loop, and second loop I'm going, and again I'm looping through the data. I filled the header data, and this time I think we have multiple line items, so I think 6 or 7 line item that will be filled here. So like that it is getting filled, and finally we are filling this table. And let me do F8 here, F8, and let's see 100, all the 100 line I have filled there. First sales order have 1 line item, second sales order having 7 line item. If you want to see, you can double click over here and 7 line item you can see over here. So like that I have filled the data. Let me do F8. Oh, it's again calling same function module. F6. I don't know why. F8, it's not good way. Let me remove the breakpoint. I think I did some mistake. Oh, get expanded entity set also it is calling. It's taking too much time. Let's see I got the data or not. I got the data, but there is some issue. Okay, I got it. So one more additional thing you have to do, whenever you are getting the expanded entity set, you have to pass one additional thing. So if you see your parameter over here, if you do F2 over here, so you have to pass response context. You have to pass what data you have filled in your expanded entity set, that you have to pass mandatorily. Otherwise this particular service is calling multiple time, I can see. So it got confused, I think so, that I am not able to see the data. I forgot to pass this particular data. Nothing you have to do, you just have to fill this particular item to take close. So sorry, not this one. This is very important step. If you do F2 over here, this is again very important. So I2 take close, that is one ET expanded take close is there. This is particular string table. In this, what all are the entity, what all are the you are filling for. In this example we are filling that item navigation. So I have to tell the system, you ask for the, I have filled that particular item navigation data in this particular method. So that is the reason we can see we have to fill this thing, and then we have to send back to the front end. Let me do Control F3 and let me one more time do the refresh. I think I did some mistake, that is the reason the data is not displaying correctly. Let me do F5. Okay, I think method will get triggered. I hope so this time. Oh, I think I removed the breakpoint. Let me put point again. Breakpoint is set. Let me put one more breakpoint. It's taking too much time, I think so. I did some mistake. Chrome is not responding. Let me copy this one. Control C, close this one. Control V. Let me do a this time breakpoint got triggered. Let me do F8. So I know I got filled. This data is got filled. Let me put breakpoint here. F8. F8. It called this time one time only. You can see. Or I got the data better format. So you have to send that response whenever you're sending back your response. But data is not looking correctly. It's looking clumsy. Yeah, now it got displayed correctly. You can see. So you can see you have to put that particular. That is very important thing. Whatever the data you have filled means what all are the navigation property you have used to fill, that navigation property you have to fill again here. Suppose in this case you have implemented one expanded. Suppose there is sales order line item having one more navigation property, and that also you are expanding. In that case also you have to fill that particular data also, and accordingly you have to pass the navigation in this particular value. Items is nothing, whatever we have navigation we have used, that navigation we have to fill. So how much you expanded for using what means in query option we are using expand equal to items now, so that we have expanded, so that is the reason we have to pass items back to this particular clause. So this method will be not called again and again to get the expanded item data. So once we have filled this one, so it got filled, and next time it is not calling. Otherwise it was calling multiple time if we don't have filled this particular items into the et expanded tick clause. That is very important thing once again. And let me rephrase and again let me show you one more time, guys. So it is calling now one time. Previously it called multiple time and it keep on getting data, so that is the reason it got stuck, system got stuck. Let me see, the breakpoint should trigger. Okay, it's not triggered yet. Yeah, now breakpoint got triggered. Let me do you can see F8. This is the one same method. One time it called. That's it. This method called only one time, not the multiple time. So that is very important. Again, this format is converting by browser. It is taking little bit time to convert in prettier format, and you can ask that particular data in the JSON format. If you see the data, so whatever the data we have filled, we got correctly. Suppose I want to show you. Let me call this and call this data in the format equal to JSON. That format is good. Let me remove the breakpoint also. So I don't need this breakpoint. This time it will trigger or not, I'm not sure, but I don't need the breakpoint now. I think it will trigger the breakpoint because it's taking the time. JSON format, display search. Breakpoint got triggered. Let me do F8. F8. Data loaded, code loaded before. So I got the data. Sorry, I got the data in the JSON format. In this, you can see for first line item we filled one item only, but for second line item you can see 4970 there is multiple line item. So we have one line item 10, Posner is 10, 20, you can see 20 here, 30, 40, 50 and 60. Same way whatever data we have filled, and 70, whatever the data we have filled, in the same way now the data got displayed here, all the 100 sales orders with all the line item data. How the expanded the framework expand work, in the same way it is working. But what is the advantage? That is the important thing. We don't have select statement inside the loop. You can see we are calling one time all the data. We are getting the data from the VBAK instead of VBAP, instead of calling this VBAP table in the loop. Again, this I will not say this code is very perfect and all. You can do the join if you're working on HANA, and you can get one data in one hand, and you can use parallel cursor. Those things you can see, and you direct, whenever you're getting the data, you can fill in appropriate format directly in this table also. That also you can do if you're working with the advanced syntax. Because this system is older, I didn't use any advanced syntax at all. Okay, so that's it. We did for the get expanded entity set, but once you implement get expanded entity set, I think get expanded entity will not work. So how to get the single entity? In this case, I got that entire data here. Let me put breakpoint again all the places to see. Again, let me put here one breakpoint here. I think other two places the breakpoint is already there, no need to put, which I have implemented. Get entity set and get, they have breakpoint, no need to worry. So instead of calling entire data, I want to call that particular sales order. Let me call this particular sales order which is having more data, 4970. So let me copy this one, 4970. So like this, 4970. I want to call only single sales order in inverted comma. Let me put dot, and I want to expand only this sales order to the line item. Basically, I don't want to get all the sales order and expanded entity. I want to get only single sales order along with the expanded data. So let me see what method it is calling. So it is trying to call the sales order get entity method. And I think after once it call the sales order get entity, it will call the get sales order get entity set method. So let me implement this method. I didn't implement it sales order get entity method till now. So so let me copy this one, Control C, go to here. It's very easy. How we did for the entity set, same way we can do. Sales order get entity redefinition and comma we can put and Control 1. Add implementation for this one, and this time as you know already, we need only single line. So you can do you can do the select this one. Instead of getting this much data, I want to get select single, something like that we have to write. So let me copy paste again. I don't want to get 100 lines, I want to get only single line here. So into corresponding table, so I want to get select single. This time select single tab, tab, and VBAK into corresponding field of this ER entity set will be not there, ER entity will be there. If you do F2 over here, you will get to know. And we have to read the IT cap table also. So you can see IT key tab, and we have to fill into corresponding field of ER entity. We are not using table, and up to 100 rows will not work. Instead of that, we have to put where condition, and we have to pass the VBLN equal to what some data will be coming from the IT key tab. So again, we have to read the IT key tab. So we will declare the data LV underscore VBLN. Again, we ABAP code only type VBLN, and what we have to do, I think I have some code around this one. I would have done somewhere here. Yeah, so you can see LV VBLN. So what we have to do, we have to read this data and we have to put the zeros. We have to use the alpha in. If you are aware about, we use in older ABAP we use conversion exit alpha function module. Instead of that, in newer ABAP you can use directly this kind of thing, alpha equal to in, it will add the zeros. And this time LV VBLN, we got the data, Control C. Let me pass this LV underscore VBLN here, and what it is this into corresponding field of ER entity is unknown. Let me do F2. ER entity, Control C, exporting this one. ET entity, it was written ER entity. Okay, this is the field I have to fill. This is simple implementation. Let me do Control F3. Let me put a breakpoint. Again, this method also I have implemented one additional method, get entity method, external breakpoint. I am not using Eclipse debugger. It is not working. I don't know, because I'm using older version. In HANA, it is worked perfectly. So if I would have working on HANA, then definitely I would have used Eclipse debugger. Here it is not working. So that is the reason I'm putting breakpoint here, and otherwise I would have put breakpoint directly here. So directly here itself. Okay, what I will do, let me refresh data again. So it is telling sales order get entity is not implemented. Not an issue, I have implemented for them. Let me refresh the data. I think breakpoint will trigger. I hope so. Hi, trigger ho ja. Let's trigger, sorry. It's taking time. It got triggered. You can see it got triggered, and it is calling for sales order get entity method. And once it got sales order get entity method data in ER entity, you can see header data 4970 we got. And I think so after getting the header entity, it will call line item entity set method. Let me do F8. No, it is calling get expanded entity set method instead of calling that. So this should not happen ideally. So since we have implemented get expanded entity set method, if I would have called without this implementation, that it would have called that get entity set method. So for showing that, I have to comment it out, and then only I can show you. I will not get proper data. Definitely I will not get proper data. I got some junk data. So I got this header data and line item data. You can see I got some junk data. So what you have to do, since you have implemented your get expanded entity set method, that is the reason it is expecting you should implement get expanded entity method as well. So let me comment it out, this get expanded entity set method, control shift less than, and then we will see how it is working. Let me comment it out, and method control C, and let me put that, because if I comment there, it will control. First let me comment it out and then copy paste, control shift less than, control. Let me again select and control X, because if I try to activate, it will not activate. It will say you can't put and commented code between methods. So I can put here anyway, not an issue. Control F3. Now expanded entity set method is not implemented. Ideally it should call for getting the single entity. First it should call get entity method, then get entity set method of item it should call. Let me see, let me refresh the data this time again. So you have to learn which URI calling which function modules. So you have to put, we have to put breakpoint and see. Then this is the only way we can see the data. I will put this again, this particular, I will try to put in description all the URIs which method is calling. That is very important when we are working with OData. So if you don't know which URI, everywhere put breakpoint and see where it is calling and code accordingly. I think it's taking time now. Yeah, it got called, get entity set method called. After that, I'm expecting it should call item get entity set method, because now I don't have implemented methods. That expanded get entity set method is not implemented. So let me do a fact. You see, sales order items get entity set method call. That is very important. So you can see this time I got very clear data, no junk data, only 7 line item. You can see for 4970 I got the all the 7 line item, nothing else I got. Single sales order, all the line item data. This is the required data if you want to display single sales order data, and you want to create one application where you are displaying the sales order data, and user want to create new sales order, they can create from there, and they want to update this sales order data, that also you can they can do. How to do those things, those things also we will going to see in upcoming video, to create the sales order inside the SAP system through the OData service. That also we are going to see, but as of now we are seeing this URI option. Let me copy this URI option, control C, and go to again here. So till now we did this one, expand query set. So in this way, this time we are doing this one. Let me remove this one, format equal to JSON not required. And in this way we are calling this way, what it will call first, it will call get entity method. So in this case, just now we have implemented this method, it will call, not this one, this one, control C, first it will call this method, and only one order is there. It will give us only one order because we have 4970 order it will give us, and then after that it will call this method for this only one time because we are having one time. If we didn't implement it, get expanded entity set method, this is the case. And once we implemented this method, let me uncomment again this code. It will not call that particular sequence. Control X, and let me put here that method. I can put after this also, not an issue. So that will be better. I will put after this Control V and Control sub greater than to uncomment my code in Eclipse. Control shift greater than, and let me uncomment that commented line also. Control shift greater than, Control F. So get expanded entity set method I again implemented. If I try to call again, I will get some junk data this time. Let me do Control F3 and show you what is the junk data I'm getting. Before, let me refresh it out. I will get some junk data. Meanwhile, what I will do, because I will not get like this 70 Posner, 60, 50, 40 like that. I will not get. I will get something, some junk data. After this data, I will get some junk data because my get expanded entity set is implemented. It is expecting us to implement get expanded entity method as well. So backward triggered. So first it triggered the get entity set method, and it will not call now that method. So you can see some junk data we got. How for header data code we correctly, but line item data you can see I'm getting the sales order without line item here, no line item. So all the line item data you can see I'm getting this many line item. This is junk data. So if you want this URI should work, so you have to implement another method called get. So let me do this little bit here. To copy line, Control Alt arrow down button, and you can call this time instead of entity set expanded Control space, you will do get entity method. Expanded entity method you have to implement, and you for doing the implementation you have to click on Control 1, add implementation for this particular method, and you have to write the code, not only do the implementation. If you do Control F3, and you have to write the code, and the same way you have to write the code. So you have to declare this all the data type again. You can globally also you can declare, not an issue, but let me call as of now locally only. So that's you can declare because it's an extension class. Nowhere your code will go. You can declare this all the declaration. If you're using multiple places, you can declare this all the data in your global place also if you want to do. So let me copy paste as of now. So let me fill this time header and line item data together. Control C. So this time something like it will be like this. I will be getting this data, and instead of up to 100 rows, I will be getting one row, and into table. Let it be table, not an issue. Even I'm getting one line, not table, into LSVBAK I have to do. Okay, I can put where condition here. Control Z. Let it get anyway. I will put one sales order. I will get the one table only VBLN. Again I have to put that code, this code for getting the single sales order data. So this code is needed. Control C, because key field will be filled in this case. I will show you in the debug mode, no need to worry. I'm very quicker now. So I'm getting this IT key tape will be filled whenever you are calling this URI, the key tape field will be having 4970. So that is very important. I read this one, I will pass this one here, VBLN equal to Control V. There will be always one entry in VBAK, and VBAP there will be entries, and I can paste same code, not it will work, I think so. No need to worry about this one. Control C. I can paste as is. Control V, left F1. So there will be one line here, and again no need to clear this one. Instead of this two line, I don't want to declare this one. Control Shift less than, I need to just fill this one. Control C, and same method I have to call this one also. This both are required. Control C and Control V. I'm doing too much copy paste. I usually don't like, but these videos are time consuming, so that is the reason I'm doing the copy paste. Again, this is a ABAP code. So what you can do, so instead of sending this table, I have to send this time this work area. Control C, Control V. You understand? I hope I will explain in debug again. So instead of creating one table, I just want to send one sales order data. So that will be available here. Once I will put all the data and all the line item, this will be available here, and I am converting into this ER entity set. Let me do what is the exporting parameter here. F2, you can do, I think, ER entity. Control C, and you can paste here ER entity. You will be going to fill ER entity, and this is the same. You have to send the tech close. I think it should work. Except F1. Let me activate this one. Control F3, and let me go to SE24 and put present for this also. Get expanded entity set. Get expanded entity here. Okay, let me go here. Get expanded entity, not entity set. Entity. Let me put breakpoint over here as well. So, and let me refresh the data this time. I think this time we will get data correctly because we have implemented correct method. Okay, I got the data correctly, but debugger didn't trigger it. Let me put breakpoint again. Oh, I didn't put external breakpoint. You have to put always external breakpoint because you are calling from browser. So I hope so this will trigger, obviously, because I know I already done this all the things before showing you guys. So it should work. Get trigger whenever I'm calling from browser, it is taking little bit time to come here. So you can see it came here. So as I told you, if you see your local variables, always remember whenever you're implementing the method, you have to see all the variables. Whatever the data you will need, you will get all the data here itself. Whatever the front end the data is sending. So you can see IT key tab, as I told you, there will be value in the sales order 4970. Where it came from? It came from URI here, nowhere else. And second thing, what else I want to show you, this is the one thing important, and what data you want to fill, that is always you have to fill in ER entity. Payload, whatever the data you are sending, that will be either ER entity set or ER entity. And the tech close you have to fill again, what expanded you, what property expanded you, that same thing you can put here. And you need some other data if you have multiple entity set and multiple expanded activities and all these things. Again, you can explore this IO tech request. Inside the IO tech request, there is MR request. Again, this is the MR request. If you see this, there is lot of data. If you are using your filtering, if you are doing some formatting, sorting, what is the source entity, what is the key table, what is the navigation path, each and everything you will get, all the detail you will get over here. Whatever the front end it is sending, based on that data you have to write your code. So again, this is not the big deal. Once you get to know which method is implemented, you can see importing and exporting parameter based on your requirement. You can develop your code. So let me come to this method again. I did F6 LV underscore VBLN is there. I got the LT underscore VBAK data correctly. LT underscore VBAP data, 7 line item. For this particular sales order, we have 7 line item. So that is the reason I'm looping one time here. And I have filled the header data first, and one by one I am filling all the 7 line item here. So your second, third, like that I'm filling. And once it got filled, all the line item here, let me do F8 and show you this one, LS expanded entity, header data, all the 7 line item here. You can see here items data here, all the 7 line item, where we have 4 we have material and remaining we don't have material and quantity. No need to worry. Without material and quantity, there is the sales order. So F6 let me do, and I'm sending this ER entity, the data, whatever it is converted, this data back to the front end. F6 and F8, and I got the data correctly here. This is the way we have to use the expand query option, not the framework provided expand query option, because that if normal scenario, if data is less, we are not using our application is a normal application with browser, not using mobile application. In the mobile and all, it's very important to get the data quicker way. So we came at the end of our video. So in this video, we learned about the expand query option. Why we use expand query options? To get the 2 entity set data in single service call. Instead of calling one entity set data and then after calling the another entity set data, we want to call both the entity set data together in one call itself, then we will use expand query options. There were two options. One is the framework framework provided, and second was we can write our own code in the get entity set, expanded entity set, and one is the expanded entity method. There is the two method. We can implement our own code also, and if we don't implement, this is the URI we are going to use. And if you want to implement your code, you can code in those two methods as well. And last thing, some people sometimes get confused between the navigation property and the expanded query options. So both are different thing. The navigation, when we click on that navigation button, this will only, for example, sales order header, we are displaying all the sales order header data. When we click on the navigation button, only it will return that line item data. It will not return the header data along with the line item data. But expand query options will return both the entity set data together along with the header data, line item data. But the navigation only we can get from header to line item data. If you have some header data already displayed, or you want to display the line item data, you click on that button, only the line item data will be called in the next call. Both are two calls, separate call, one for the header data and second call for the line item data. In the expanded query option, we are getting header and line item data in one call itself. That is basic difference. Some guys get confused between the navigation and expanded query options. With that, we have done with this video. Before going to next video, please like this video and share these videos with others as well. Thank you and happy learning.